Hey you guys, welcome back and welcome if you are new. My name is Sam and welcome to my kitchen. We're just going to be making a few little fun things this week. We're going to start out with making some loaded French fries for dinner today. Now I'm going to be baking these today, but you can most definitely fry these in some oil. They will be delicious. I'm going to bake them. So I got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. I've got my spices here. And I've just cut these in little bitty French fry shapes, but I got them on two different pans here because I want them to be spread out where they get nice and golden and crispy. So I'm just going to add some oil to these. You can do olive oil, you can do avocado oil, that's what I'm using. Whatever kind of oil you have on hand. We're just going to add that to the potatoes. Let me set this to the side. And I've got my spices here. Now in here I've got some black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, parsley, some salt, and some sugar. And I'm just going to mix this all together. Make sure it's nice and combined. Make sure that garlic and everything is smushed up. And I'm just going to half this per batch of fries, so that way it gets nice and evenly coated and delicious and very well seasoned. Okay, now all I'm going to do is mix this together, and I'm just going to place this evenly on my pan. And I'm going to roast these for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'm going to flip them over and then cook them for another 15 to 20 minutes, just until they are completely cooked through and nice and golden brown. And then I'm just going to take them out. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up a little bit and cook up some bacon to go on these fries. And then I'll meet you back here. Alright you guys, so we're going to go ahead and make some cheese sauce. I've got the bacon done. It's sitting over to the side. It is cooling. My French fries are on their last leg. They've got just a few more minutes to go. In the meantime, we're going to make this sauce. So I've got some butter in my pan here, or my pot. And we're just going to let this melt down. Alright, so this butter is melted down. I've got some flour. I'm going to add that right in there. Now make sure you add the same amount of butter as you do flour. And we're just going to let this cook up about a minute or two, just to cook that raw flour taste out. Alright, so I've got that in there and it is done. I'm going to get my milk here. And I'm going to turn this heat down just slightly, and we're going to slowly add this milk in here until we've added all of the milk and it's nice and thick. Alright, so I've got all of the milk in there, and I'm just going to sit here and whisk this until it's thickened. It should take about 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, so this has thickened. I'm going to cut my heat off. Now I went ahead and added some of that fry seasoning that we added to the fries earlier. I just reserved a little bit and added that in here. And I've got some cheese here. I've got 2 cups of cheddar cheese. This is the white cheddar cheese, but you can use the regular cheddar cheese if that's what you got. And I'm just going to add all of this in here. And I'm going to whisk all of this together until it is nice and incorporated and that cheese is nice and melted. And then I'm just going to set this to the side. Wait for my fries to get done. Clean up a little bit. And then once the fries get done, I'll meet you back here and we will assemble all of this deliciousness. Alright you guys, so here is the sauce. It's still quite hot and it hasn't thickened up too much, but it will continue to thicken up as it cools. So I've got that done and my fries are done. So let's get these fries all dolled up. I'm going to add some of this delicious cheese all over these fries. Now you can add whatever you want to these. Whatever toppings you like. So I've got that. I've also got some ranch here. You can skip this if you don't want ranch. You can add sour cream, cheese, whatever your little heart desires. I've also got some hot sauce. You guys know I love spicy food, so I'm going to add a little bit of hot sauce. And I've got my bacon here. It's nice and crispy and crunchy. And you can add as much or as little bacon as you want. Now I'm only going to do a little bit of this, and then I will save the rest of this for everybody else. So I've got that. Wipe my hands off. I've got some green onions here. You can add chives to this if you want. There we go. And that looks absolutely delicious. Smells good. You guys, these French fries were so simple, but they were so delicious. If I can find this exact recipe, I will leave it linked down below. If not, it is in the Joanna Gaines book 3, which is linked in my Shop My Books section in my Amazon, which is also linked down in the description box below. Hey you guys, welcome back. Today I've got some leftover cheese in the refrigerator from yesterday when we made the fries. So I figured I would just make some pretzels to go with that cheese. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to be doing it in my bread maker, but you can do this by hand or in a stand mixer. If you're doing this in a stand mixer, let your yeast bloom in some sugar water for about 5 minutes, and then just add everything else in there. Let it mix for about 5 to 7 minutes until it comes together. Let it rise for an hour. But today we're doing it in the bread machine, and I'm going to start out with my water, and I'm just going to add all of this in here. Now I'm using bread machine yeast, so I will add it in just a bit. But I am going to add some oil. I'm using avocado oil, but vegetable oil will work just fine as long as it's unflavored. Alright. And that's just going to help that dough stay nice and soft and help it get a nice crust. Alright, so now I'm going to add in my flour. I'm going to add in 5 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour. Before I add this last cup of flour, I'm going to add my sugar. So I've got a teaspoon of sugar. And we're going to add some salt. I've got 2 teaspoons of salt going in here. Kind of mix that around just a bit. And then I'm just going to add this last bit of flour over the top of that. And I'm going to add my yeast in last, since it's bread machine yeast. But if you're doing regular yeast, add that in first. And we're going to do 2½ teaspoons of yeast. Alright, So I'm just going to wipe up this flour here, move things around a bit, and then I'll meet you back here. We'll get this in the bread machine. Alright, you guys, so I've got my bread machine. It's not plugged up just yet. I'm going to add my dough in here. Put that down. I'm going to put the lid down, and I'm going to plug this in. This is a KBS bread machine. I love this thing. There we go. And it's got these little categories here. You can leaven dough and bake bread in this. It's great. So I'm just going to do number 12 just to leaven the bread, because we've got to shape it. I don't want it to cook in here. I don't want a whole loaf. So I'm just going to do 12 leaven dough, and that is number 12. And then I'm just going to hit start, and it's going to do the job. And I'm going to go clean up a little bit, and then I'll meet you back here, and we'll get these shaped and proofed again for their final rise, and we'll get these going. Alright, you guys, so I went ahead and turned my dough out onto a lightly floured surface, and then cut them into 16 equal pieces as much as possible. And I've got some boiling water here, and to this water I'm going to add in some baking soda, about 1/3 cup. I'm just going to mix this together until it's nice and combined, and that baking soda is melted into that water. I've got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. I've got 2 sheet trays lined with parchment paper, and they are ready to go. And now I'm just going to slide this water over just a bit. I've also got a slotted spoon here, and I'm going to roll these pieces out into like a little log, and we're going to shape these into some pretzel shape. Alright, that looks about right. Y'all, I haven't made pretzels in a while, and I have been wanting pretzels. And now that I have some cheese sauce in the fridge, I'm going to make some. So I'm just going to roll these out a little bit longer. And we're going to circle these together, double twist them, and then let's see if I can get this a little bit longer. Alright, bring it together, double twist it, bring it up, and kind of stick it to itself and press it down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in this water. Alright, so I'm just going to dip it in this water. Alright, make sure it's nice and coated, and then I'm just going to place it on my prepared sheet pan. So I've got that pretzel there. I've got some flaky salt here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of this flaky salt right on top. Not much. I don't want it to be too salty. So I'm just going to continue to do all of these, and then I'll meet you back here. We'll get these in the oven. Alright, you guys, so I've got all of these done. They are ready to go. I'm going to bake these at 425 for about 8 to 10 minutes. They've already got the salt on them, and some of these are plain, but 8 to 10 minutes, 425, and then in the meantime, I'm going to clean up, melt a little bit of butter to kind of spread over the top of these when they get done, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're all done. Alright, so these pretzels are done. I just took them out of the oven, and I went ahead and melted some butter, And I'm just going to brush the top of these with some butter. And it's going to help them get nice and soft. And then these are ready to serve. You can serve them however you want. Like I said, I've got some leftover cheese dip or cheese sauce in the fridge. So I'm going to heat that up and serve that alongside these delicious pretzels. Once I get these all plated up, I will show you everything all together. Alright, you guys, here are these pretzels. These were absolutely delicious. They were so soft and so buttery with that salt. It was just so good. The cheese sauce went well with it. I also made some hot mustard because pretzels and hot mustard just go together in my book. So if you don't like spicy food, skip the hot mustard and just stick with either beer cheese or just regular cheese sauce. But these were absolutely delicious. Another Joanna Gaines wins for us. But yeah, I will leave all of these linked in the description box for you guys. Alright, you guys, today we're going to be making some blueberry muffins. These are so good. I've made them a couple of times before, so I'm going to share them with you. This is not my recipe, but the recipe will be linked down in the description box below, or a similar one. So we're going to start off with the dry ingredients in here. I've just got some flour, and to that I'm going to add some baking powder. So we're going to add about a teaspoon of baking powder and some salt, a good pinch of salt. Mix that together, and we're going to add some sugar. So I'm going to add in about a cup of sugar. You can add more or less depending on how sweet you want your muffins. And I know sugar technically isn't a dry ingredient because it melts down, but I'm going to go ahead and mix it in because we're going to do this all in one bowl. And it's just going to be a little bit easier. Alright, so I'm going to move this sugar out of the way. We're going to start on the wet ingredients. Alright, so I'm going to take that out, and we're going to add in some butter. And I've got a stick of butter here that's softened. We're going to add that in there. Alright, you guys, I'm just going to mix this butter in with this flour and sugar till it gets a little bit crumbly. Take me just a minute or two, and then we will add the rest of these delicious ingredients and get these in the oven. Alright, so I've got all of this mixed together. We're going to add in some eggs. I've got 2 eggs here. We're just going to add those right in here. I've got some yogurt, but you can use sour cream if you want, or buttermilk. And I'm just going to add that right in here. This is about 1/3 cup. Alright, now I'm going to add in some vanilla. You can add as much or as little as you want. I'm going to do about 2 teaspoons. Vanilla in dessert is just absolutely delicious, so I add a little bit extra. So I'm just going to get this all mixed together. Once it's all mixed together, I'm going to grab my blueberries, and we will add that right in here. Alright, you guys, so this is almost completely combined. There is a little bit of flour still on the bottom. I've got about a cup of blueberries here. They're still frozen, so I'm just going to add them all in here. And we're going to mix this all together until the rest of that flour is combined. And these blueberries are all mixed in. And I'm going to grab my baking tray over there. I've got a silicone muffin pan, and we're going to add all of this in there. So that looks pretty good. I don't want to overmix the batter, so I'm going to stop there, grab my pan, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my muffin pan here, I've got my batter here, and I've got a scoop. This is a 3 tablespoon measure, and I'm just going to evenly put all of this batter right down into this pan. I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees. Once the stove gets nice and hot, we're going to put these in the oven, and we're going to bake these for about 20 to 25 minutes until they are completely cooked through. But before they go into the oven, we've got to make some streusel to go on the top, or you can leave them just like this if you don't want the streusel topping. They are delicious either way. So I'm going to make some streusel topping to go on the top of this while the oven is preheating. So we're just going to leave them in the pan, or in this mold here, and set them to the side while we make that delicious topping. Alright, so in my bowl here, I've just got 2 tablespoons of flour. I'll grab my sugar. I need a 1/4 cup. Alright, I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm also going to need a little pinch of salt. And we're also going to need some butter. So, get my butter here. Grab a fork, and we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter in here. Just a little bit. That's good. Move this out of the way. And now we're just going to mix this together until everything is nice and combined. Alright, that looks about good. And I'm going to bring my muffins back over here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of this to the top of these muffins. And this is going to bake up and get nice and crumbly on the top, and it's going to be delicious. Got that little bit right there on that one. And we're going to get these in the oven. 350, 25 minutes maybe. Just stick a toothpick into the center. If they come out kind of with a few moist crumbs, they are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven. Alright, you guys, these are done. I'm going to let them cool here in this pan for about 10 minutes or so, and then I'm going to take them out, put them on a wire rack to let them cool completely, and then these are done and they're good to go. So I'm going to let them cool. I'll show you what they look like once they're all nice and cooled down. Alright, you guys, here are these muffins. They are nice and cooled down and ready to be enjoyed. These are so good. Now, if you like blueberry anything, you're gonna love these. They are so delicious and just soft, and the top is kind of crumbly and crackly. Delicious. Now, sometimes I do like to add a little bit of lemon juice or lemon zest to these, kind of zhuzh them up a little bit, but other than that, they are absolutely delicious. And that is going to wrap up this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description box, and I will see you guys in. Bye, y'all.